Disclaimer, I do not dislike CinemaSins, and that is not a lie. For next Reading Around with CinemaSins video, I'm going to be sending the video on Five Nights at Freddy's, and I'd like to give thanks and dedications to Zach Pro, Goofy Face Pictures, and Jack Odd Plush Pro for requesting this video. Enjoy, everyone. To start things off, your description here says Fight Night at Freddy's instead of Five Nights at Freddy's.
24 seconds of glitch-versal low-cast combos. You know, that thing I always say.
Yeah, we know, so why point it out to us?
Blumhouse, this is Blumhouse, this is Blumhouse, blum blum. Blumhouse, this is Blumhouse, this is blum 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 blumhouse. Blum 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 house, house.
Singing something that isn't a sin cliche.
CCTV monitors will not factor into this movie at all.
I disagree, because there are times when they do help, such as when Vanessa arrives the second night and Mike sees her on the monitors.
Shadow scares, 73% more annoying than cat scares, but only 42% less annoying than clown scares.
Pointing things out on the screen.
What exactly are these lights turning off one by one? Because if the movie expects me to believe that each of these lights has their own light switch, then I do not believe you, movie.
It's not that. It's more so the fact that the spirits of the murdered kids are doing this since they haunt the restaurant by doing creepy things like this.
Between the screw this security guard was easily moving with his fingers a couple minutes ago, and now this easily accessed screw, I believe the movie doesn't know how to screw correctly.
Well, even if that was a screw, which it isn't, the difference here is more so that the guard is more panicked than before with the mask approaching his face.
Taping posters to your walls or ceilings as an adult.
Well, yeah, because Mike does that as a way to think back to Garrett's kidnapping when he sleeps to see if he can find a new clue about it.
Abs, you ready?
The question I ask my core before I try to get up from the couch somehow makes its way into the script.
Jeremy says something random cliche.
This has nothing to do with the movie, but there is enough uninteresting runtime in here for me to include my pitch for a TV show called Food Court, where I'm a lawyer who travels from town to town seeking justice for crimes against gastronomy, hoping each time that my next leap will be the leap home. If interested, have your people contact my people.
So you admitted that that had nothing to do with the movie, but you still send the movie for it?
What is it?
It's a security gig.
Considering Mike just got fired from a security gig and probably charged with assault, the fact that Steve is saying he has another security gig for him should raise a red flag for Mike. But it does not. And now I know Mike is a f***ing idiot, and I will most likely have to watch a f***ing idiot do f***ing idiotic things for the next 90 minutes.
Yeah, it should. But in this instance, Mike might not think about that since he needs a new job, and this offer is appearing to be his only chance at it, which he later realizes he has to take the offer so that he can keep custody of Abby and not have Jane take her.
You only have to worry about one thing, keeping people out. And keep the place tidy.
That's two things.
Mike would be excellent at this villain is supposed to be a genius, but is actually kind of dumb since.
That's the joke.
Driveway. Excitement?
Those first three were just pointing things out on the screen, and the last one isn't excitement since Mike's seeing a delinquency notice here.
This ever-changing angle of attack, there is no way this plane should be maintaining lift.
But you know that that's a toy plane, right?
Garrett?
It would seem that choosing to go pick up a Frisbee over making sure your brother is safe is a bad call. But, I mean, it's a Frisbee, and it's yellow!
But it's not really Mike's fault, because how would he have suspected that Garrett was going to get kidnapped by Afton?
Also, the worst part is he runs off after the car without throwing the Frisbee back. Everyone lost today.
Well, if this was me, I'd have done what Mike did, since trying to help Garrett would matter more to me.
Also, there's nothing I like better in my animatronic come-to-life-and-kill-people horror film than a little domestic dispute over who gets custody of a child after the parents have died.
Well, similar to what the Birdman said, this is what leads Mike to take the job at Freddy so that he can have a way to keep Abby in his custody.
You know, pictures hold tremendous power for children.
And what holds tremendous power for me is a little thing I like to call skip.
And what holds tremendous power for me is pointing out why scenes like this are important, and pictures would apply to me as well, like this one.
Let me give you a little backstory.
This place was huge in the 80s with the kids.
5 nights worth of exposition coming right up.
Which I think would be needed so that Mike knows what he needs to do at the pizzeria, as well as how the place has turned out over the years.
Lights on the outside, cameras inside and outside. Fair warning, the electricity is a bit iffy.
This is way too much detail for this guy to not be a villain.
So are you going to tell us why you think that, or are you just going to say something and expect us to go with it?
Locker scares, 82% more annoying than bookcase scares, but only 31% less annoying than end table scares.
Well, considering that the games are relying on jump scares, it would make sense to have one like this here.
Also, this whole aunt asshole hires a few delinquents to get dirt on Mike so she can get custody of her niece is a little more convoluted than the story needed to be just to throw in a few more Freddy Fazbear victims.
Well, the purpose of this is because of Jane chastising Max for not finding any evidence of criminal negligence on Mike, which leads to Jeff suggesting trashing the pizzeria to get him fired after Jane turns down his suggestion of just simply killing him.
We'll shortly see that Mike also has this cut in real life, which means we have a movie with a character who can get hurt in the real world based on what happens in his nightmares, and one of the villains' names is Freddy.
Well, yeah, because anytime one of the ghost kids injures Mike in his dreams, it turns out to also be a real-life injury from the animatronics.
Bonnie somehow knew to get into this closet, and that Hank would eventually show up and trap himself in there with her.
First of all, Bonnie is a male, not a female. Though while I still have to sing you for this, I do appreciate you acknowledging this mistake in your pinned comment. Secondly, while Bonnie didn't expect Hank to show up, he often goes to the supply closet in the games, hence him being here.
Also, why would the door the thieves came in through be unlocked? Mike has never entered or exited that way the entire movie.
Well, they were likely able to unlock it with the tools they had with them.
You and Abby, you still have each other.
This feels like it's a great time to remind everyone this is a movie about discount Chuck E. Cheese animatronics that come to life and kill people.
Well, there is also the fact that another part of the story is about Mike's PTSD from Garrett's kidnapping and him learning to be better with Abby.
It's like camping.
Being happy that anything is like camping.
Well, it makes sense for Abby to say this since she tends to sleep in her tent.
I like Mike, but it is negligent as f to do his sleepy time travel bullshit right now with Abby here, starting to side with Aunt Jane. That makes me feel all f***ed up inside.
Well, Mike had told Abby to just sleep and not leave the office, which she agreed to, and she had been sleeping for a while before this, so...
It's really odd that in a movie where animatronics possessed by ghost children come to life and occasionally kill people, the part I'm having the hardest time believing is that Mike can have the same goddamn dream every night.
Well, Mike earlier said to Vanessa that he goes back to the same memory every night when he sleeps, so that kind of explains why this is the case.
Help me remember the man who took my brother.
Mike doesn't understand how these kids are in his dreams, but he still assumes that they have a fucking clue about what happened to his brother.
Well, he has this assumption because he knows they're the kids who disappeared in the 80s, so he thinks they know who took Garrett.
Wow, that's interesting. But it's not like the movie will take the random job that Mike took from the random guy at the career counseling center and make all that tie into what happened to Mike's brother when he was a kid, right?
Well, that is what happens here.
What are you so afraid of?
Vanessa deflects the question when the answer should be ghost zombie bots.
That's part of it, but she's also afraid of what her dad could possibly do to him or her if she reveals who he is, though she does eventually.
As many times as the animatronics have been through this rigmarole, you would think they would learn to install more sturdy screws.
Well, considering that the previous guard failed to escape this, it's likely the animatronics didn't notice that the bolt was loosened by him.
Silly Aunt Jane. She fell asleep.
This works, or Abby is very okay with Aunt Jane being dead.
Well, like TV trope says, Abby can tell that Jane is actually dead, but she just brushes it off because of how much she hated her.
Found you and you were badly hurt.
This is seriously the only explanation we're going to get as to how Mike escaped death at the hands of Foxy.
Well, like the Birdman said, the door opened when Mike escaped, and my assumption is that Vanessa was there and opened it from the other side.
He influences them somehow.
So the villain yet to be named, but who is definitely Matthew Lillard, killed some kids and put their bodies in animatronic robots. And then those kids turned into ghosts that can inhabit your dreams, and Matthew Lillard said, "Oh, cool, I can work with this." And somehow he devised a way to get those ghost androids to do his bidding. What the absolute f is going on right now?
Well, like your viewers told you, that's FNAF for you.
These dumb f***ing robot kid ghosts don't notice this.
Actually, Bonnie did notice and attempted to alert Freddy about it.
All Scooby-Doo bullshit aside, we now know the whole reason Mike got the job at Freddy's is because serial killer here was masquerading as a career counselor and realized that years ago he had in fact kidnapped and killed Mike's little brother. And when serendipity came knocking, he figured it best to give Mike a job guarding his abandoned building inhabited by robo-ghosts so that he could... Wait, what the f*** was this guy's plan?
His plan was to give Mike the job so the animatronics would kill him and he wouldn't be exposed as the one who kidnapped and killed Garrett.
Also, the movie casts Matthew Lillard as a surprise killer in the final act, but does not contain a scene where he says, "I'll be right back."
So does that mean the "I always come back" line doesn't count?
What have you done?
I'm glad you're confused too, because I have no idea what is going on now. So Abby used her artwork to communicate with the ghost children that Steve William Yellow Rabbit guy was the one who killed them before, because apparently they don't remember anything unless it is documented in crayon.
Well, the original drawing with the yellow rabbit holding the kids' hands was what made the animatronics think that Afton was their friend. So when Abby replaced it with the drawing of him killing the kids, that was what helped them remember what happened to them.
And now for some reason they are able to control this guy's suit. Are these things networked?
That's not what's happening. The spring locks activated after Mr. Cupcake bit the suit, which led to them slowly killing Afton.
I always come back.
This can't mean anything beyond threatening us with a sequel unless these suits automatically turn you into a ghost.
But like the Birdman said, doesn't this nullify your earlier sin? And here's the result, everybody. The sin total was 61. The sentence will be spring lock failure. Thank you for watching, everybody, and happy Halloween.